Well, this is the 50th anniversary of the Royal Air Force, and it's interesting to recall that the military flying started with the Royal Engineers, who were allowed by the government of the day £13,000, and it was then cancelled because it was too expensive, military aviation. At this time, about 1910, the Germans were spending £400,000 on aviation and the development of it. Now, the engineers started, and the Army flying section was known as the Royal Flying Corps. The Navy, the Royal Navy, had a flying section which was known as the Royal Naval Air Service. Now, these were the two flying services in World War I, and it wasn't until April the 1st, 1918, in other words, very nearly the end of the war, the First War, that the Royal Air Force was formed as an independent service. This was the work, as everybody knows, of the late Lord Trenchard, then Sir Hugh Trenchard, who in fact was an army officer. Now, I joined the Royal Air Force 40 years ago as a cadet at Crandall in 1928, so I'm only 10 years younger than the Royal Air Force. My first recollection was the Avro 504, which had a rotary engine. In other words, the whole engine rotated with the propeller, and you stopped it by that magnificent sound that you're just hearing now of cutting the ignition, so that you've got the sound you can hear of an engine going and then cutting out completely and then starting again, then cutting out. Now, you kept blipping it because you couldn't stop it completely, because then you had to wind it up again. So you slowed it down as you taxied out by blipping, and coming into land you did exactly the same thing. You would hear these things coming into land, stopping and starting and stopping and starting, exactly the noise you're hearing now. Now, subsequently to that, they put the Armstrong-Siddeley Lynx engine into the Avro 504, and this, for years and years and years, remained the initial trainer of the Royal Air Force and one or two other air forces with which the British Empire then was associated. Now, that was an engine which simply went on going, and you merely slowed down in the ordinary way as you do with a motor car. You slowed it down by pulling back the throttle, and we stopped the blipping once and for all as a noise in the air.